Welcome to Earth 2 Comic Cast, where superheroes exist and comic book talk is the norm. It's your host, Mo Crosby. I am back today with... How did I miss it? I'm back today with...
I even told you he was doing it.
I'm back with Patrick,
Hi.
Stephanie, and James, and we're here to talk Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 4, Chapter 12, I believe. Yes, that's
I watched your guys' Discovery last night. It was very good. Everybody should watch that.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it. At least we have one viewer. Yes. This is always the reason we do it. But thank you, Patrick. Oh no, but seriously, thank you to everyone else that watches. You know, we get comments every now and again, and we appreciate the comments. So it makes me feel like you guys are watching. Stephanie and James are always here, so I'll start with them. What did you think of the episode itself? Like when it was done, credits were rolling. You know, the little art thing was going at the end. What did you think? It was like, oh my god, this is like the best Mandalorian episode I ever watched. Or like, what the fuck?
I think James should go first because I didn't pull up the little notes I make myself.
Okay.
So last week I read a comment somewhere from someone that said that all of the Mandalorian episodes this season have the same plot. And after I read that, I realized it was true, and I was really hoping that they would break that mold. And the plot is basically Mando needs something, somebody has it, and he has to do something to get it. And it followed the same plot again, and now I'm frustrated. I thought it was a good filler episode. There wasn't a whole lot of like substance to it, but the plot was the same.
Okay.
I felt like there were multiple times when I was watching the episode where I was like, this feels like a Star Wars movie. Like this feel like the action and the fact that we were on like just the backdrop of it just felt very movie-like to me, and I couldn't decide if I liked it or not.
It could have felt like they used a set from one of the movies and just
absolutely, yeah. That easily could have been a borrowed set, and I wouldn't have known.
Patrick,
I really liked it. I think.
You think?
It's interesting that Stephanie, or no, it was James that said that it's the same plot, but I feel like that's true. But that's also been true even in season 1 for a lot of it. Like season 1 used that same plot a lot.
Well, I think that was a critique of everything, not just season 2.
Oh yeah, and I think that's just like, again, I feel like that's just like what Mando is. Like I just think that's what Mandalorian is. It's like the plot of A-Team and Knight Rider was the same every episode. Plot, I don't know. I think that's just what it is. So I think throughout the show where he's gonna like end up on random planets, need a thing, be put in a position where he has to do a mission to get the thing, and then that's just how it's going to be. And then different missions, the variety will come in the missions, right? And what is needed to be done. But that's definitely a way. I think part of it too is he's based off of Lone Wolf and Cub, and that's what happens a lot in Lone Wolf and Cub. So,
I didn't realize it was based off that.
Are the missions actually a variety? Kill someone, capture someone? That's not that different.
So more variety, I agree. So on that side of the critique, I totally agree that we need more variety in the types of missions that he starts getting.
Okay.
I don't mind, just on the note of that critique, I don't think it's unreasonable for that to be how Mando gets the things he needs, right? He's not flowing in cash. His life is mostly a barter situation. But there could be an episode every now and then where he's got everything he needs and him and Baby Yoda are just chilling or like going on a vacation planet or it's just like a travel episode where it's about like really figuring out where does Baby Yoda come from. Or what, right? Like, I'm totally fine with him having to exchange his services for the things that he needs. I just don't think we need that in literally every episode.
A little bit of variety goes a long way. Even if there's only 1 or 2 episodes with a different plot, like it adds a whole lot to the whole show.
I agree with that. I think that we will get a little bit of that variety. I just think that it won't be...
In the remaining 2 episodes?
Oh, no, it's not that. I just don't think that it's going to be at the level that people want. But I do agree that there should be a few episodes. This episode like had too many Baby Yoda memes for me, but I know I also was thinking that like that's half. There are people that that's the only reason they watch, and so the fact that they're catering to that makes sense. But it was just like there were like at least 3 scenes in the first half of the movie or whatever, or video half of the show. They were like literally just like made for GIF. You're literally just making a GIF right now.
Well, they had to re-endear people to Baby Yoda after he, ate
genocide.
And, right, like that was creepy crawly. I'm sure all the soccer moms were not really into that depiction of Yoda. They had to do a reading episode.
I don't know. It was kind of hard to watch for me. Again, it felt like much of the same. And what I noticed, to add to James's critique, is I actually started noticing it this season, is that nothing will make sense in the first half of the episode till you get to that last 5 minutes or the stinger for you to come back. And that's what they've done every episode this season. It's, Boba Fett or Ahsoka, or it's like, he's going to Tatooine, or it's something.
No way. Totally disagree. I totally disagree.
So the whole episode happens, and then it's that one stinger that everyone talks about for the next 2 weeks, for the next week before the next episode. Am I wrong?
You're wrong. In fact, the thing everybody's talking about for this episode happens right in the middle of the episode, is the whole plot of this episode.
The midichlorian stuff.
Yeah, they're building. So I'm really excited about this reference, but it's a really, really old reference. So they're referencing in a very, very old computer game called Dark Forces.
Yes.
There were... No, it wasn't even on Xbox. It was on DOS.
Actually...
It was like... I think Dark Forces 3 maybe was on Xbox.
Oh, yeah.
They did this.
Yeah.
So it was a computer game, so they didn't really think they were making any kind of like... canon kind of calls or anything, like they weren't thinking in the DOS era of Star Wars games that what I do now is going to impact the Disney verse of the future. But there are dark troopers in that have force powers, so they're like force powered, and it's never explained, and you don't care because they're just like bad guys who have force powers because you have force powers, so it makes for a nice villain, right? A nice enemy to fight in this Wolfenstein game. So what they show in like the vat, those like vats look just like the vats in Dark Forces. And so what they're doing is, I think what they were saying is they're out of like, it's not just the DNA from Baby Yoda, but somehow they were using Anakin and maybe even Luke's DNA to make Dark Troopers. And now they're out of DNA. So the reason they need this Baby Yoda is to make new Dark Troopers. So it's like a super deep cut. It's a super deep cut. A lot of people are upset about it because it's like, again, midichlorians crop their annoying head, but
I love them.
The fact that it seems like this was something that was plotted out all the way from the beginning, like why are they trying to capture Baby Yoda is the question we've been asking since the beginning, right? Is kind of cool. And then it would like connect to like a super deep cut to a DOS PC video game from like, I don't even know when, like before 95, I mean like 93.
But I can already tell what Steph's sighing for. She's like, I don't know all that stuff. I don't
care.
Thank you.
But also, just so you know, like that video game isn't canon anymore. So like,
no, it's not. But this is what Filoni does. So Filoni's favorite thing is to find all those things that aren't canon anymore and make them canon again. He did that like throughout Rebels. Like throughout Rebels, there's nothing but spaceships that no longer exists, and he brings them back. He also made Knights of the Old Republic canon again. Like he essentially goes and finds all those things that the fans love. That's also why he brought what's his name? What's the blue guy's name? The bad guy in Rebels.
Oh man, I love him.
I can't think of his name.
Shoot.
Anyways, so he this is what he does. He goes and finds the stuff that the fans love, and they like reincorporates it into canon, and then all the hardcore old fans get really excited. And he does a good job of explaining it new too. Like, you aren't going to be lost because you didn't play Dark Forces. You're going to understand what's going on, but it's cool that it like links back to this old thing. And that's exactly how Filoni gets all these old school Star Wars fans reincorporated, who right now are pretty disaffected by the universe.
I'll make eggs.
I do appreciate now knowing like what it was they were planning on doing with Baby Yoda. It makes sense that the scientist wanted him alive, whereas the guy arranging the deal didn't care because he probably didn't understand what was actually being done. Like, I appreciate that background information. I'm annoyed that it's that deep of a cut. I'm also a little annoyed that midichlorians are back. As a super casual fan, I hate them. They're dumb.
Oh, Admiral Thrawn? Oh, Patrick is talking. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said everybody hates them. They are dumb. So that part is definitely, like, I don't know what to do about that.
So,
they are dumb.
And they're dumb for this exact reason, right?
They take the spirituality out of the Force.
It does. If using the Force is about the bacteria in your blood or whatever it is, then it's not about if you are good or bad. It's not about your personal intentions and your personal accomplishments. And people can be mined for their midichlorians, which is exactly what they're trying to do. And that's
what Rian Johnson was trying to fight with The Last Jedi, and with like the little boy using the Force at the very end and everything.
Yeah.
Is like the idea that no, it's not, anybody can be a Jedi. It's not about you being a Skywalker or whatever that makes you a Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just spent 10 minutes explaining a DOS a DOS game so people can understand what the Dark Troopers are and why that episode is super important to anything in life. But in general,
but it is important to metaplot, and one of your issues has been that you don't like how it doesn't move the plot forward. And even though Ahsoka didn't show up in this episode, which I told you we weren't going to get Ahsoka so quick, even though Ahsoka doesn't show up in this episode, it did move the plot forward. In fact, in a really important way, because we didn't know why they were trying to get Baby Yoda before, and now we do.
Oh, that is important. But I feel like Ahsoka is showing up in episode 8 at the last seconds, just like the Darksaber showed up at the last second, and season 3 is going to be.
Is that literally how she showed up at the end of a season of Rebels for the first time?
In a hoodie? Yeah.
Yeah, then she showed literally at the very last second of the last episode of a season.
Yeah, but then
you're like, Ahsoka!
But then she made. Oh, well, so hopefully, I mean, it is, according to you, it is Dave Filoni. Yeah, it is Dave Filoni, so faith, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What did
I think Filoni does something cool, though, and I think that Star Trek could learn a little bit about it, in that he finds these kind of cool little things, right? And he incorporates them into the plot in a way that usually it has nothing to do with whether you know about that thing or not, but it does make the old school characters or fans kind of excited, right? They get like really excited to see, this, even if it's like, this ship that was in a book only once, and you don't need to care about that ship at all, right? The ship doesn't do anything. It's still kind of exciting for the old school fans. It brings them back, which Star Wars is really struggling with right now.
So, to be clear, when you say old school fans, you're not just talking about movie fans. You're talking about fans of like everything Star. Okay.
I'm talking about the people who grew up like. And I feel like Stephanie and James are in this class. I don't know how if they read any of the books or anything like that, but I didn't either. I didn't read any of the books.
I played all
Anthony.
I ran video games though, and
you heard Stephanie sigh when you started talking about Dark Troopers. Like I don't think she's in there with you. Maybe James, but I don't think Stephanie's in there with you. But I'm with Stephanie in that a lot of people are watching Mandalorian and like, can we just do this one thing? Can we not have to? I don't need to go back and now research 20,000. Like we just spent 12 minutes talking about the Dark Troopers. I'm not
But
saying
you
it's a
didn't need
bad
to.
thing,
You don't need to know that
but if you wanted to
it was
enjoy
explained
the
in the episode.
was it?
I disagree.
It definitely was explained in the episode, but
I thought it was a line. It's like, oh, we're out of blood, or we're out of. This is why we need the
No,
baby.
they said that's why they literally said that's why they need Baby Yoda is because they need more of the like
They ran
Force
out
DNA
of-
or whatever.
they ran out of specimen.
Yep.
And they need more blood.
I guess. Damn, I need to watch it. No, I'm not watching it again.
So
No, because maybe at some point it became background noise for me, and so this is where we're going next. What did you like about? I know Patrick is going to say everything. What did you like about the episode? Let's start with you, Stephanie, because Patrick is chewing. Okay.
There are a couple things. So I really liked the opening with Baby Yoda and Mando on the ship. He was trying to get Baby Yoda to do some repairs because he is small and he can fit in places that Mando cannot. Obviously, it didn't work, and that's fine. But he's like learning, what he can and can't do with Baby Yoda, and I really like the idea of. I really like the idea of raising the child to be a competent space explorer, and that includes fixing your ship. So I think that's super cool to like give Baby Yoda that background of like, I was raised by a dude who did his own repairs, except for most recently. You know what I mean? Like, that's just cool. That's cute. Like, we all have most of us have fond memories of our parents teaching us something. I like that they gave that for Baby Yoda. I also really like that they showed how he eats around Baby Yoda. Super cool. And they had this like brief moment where Baby Yoda's interest is sparked. And so I would not be surprised if later like you see Baby Yoda like fiddling with his helmet while he's asleep, just as he like went after the eggs when no one was looking. And that could be super fun down the road. And then the plot of the episode, I mean, I'm glad we got that explanation of what Baby Yoda, why they wanted Baby Yoda. The rest of it was meh, but I love I love Cara Dune, so I was glad that she was heavily featured in this episode.
I can see your face.
Yeah, why can't I see your face?
I don't think I'm supposed to see your face. That's not the way.
Wrong chat.
And are you saying
Oh,
that?
Was that it?
Yeah, I guess that's it. That's the appearance. James, what did you like about the episode?
I liked seeing the stormtroopers everywhere, weirdly. And if you pay attention to what they say, most of their lines are actually quotes from the original 3 movies. We think they're split up on levels. Boom! They blew up. But they just like said a lot of the lines from the original movies, which is, I don't know, just like a little Easter egg.
You can't come back without the mask.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, your audio isn't on.
Maybe we can hear. Maybe we can talk to Patrick for a second, or Patrick just left. Anyways, what I did like. What?
Was there anything else you liked about the
so
episode?
janky.
I also liked Yoda going to school and stealing cookies.
That was super cute.
Told ya. Lots of little memes.
And
they should do Baby Yoda shorts.
They should do Baby Yoda shorts. I would watch those, except they would all be Baby Yoda sneaking into things he was told not to get into.
Right. So, who cares?
Wow.
It'd be fun.
Why do you keep chewing? I'm about to ask you a question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What did you like about the episode? And don't say everything. Be specific.
What did I like about the episode? I liked the run, right? I liked the going into the base and doing the stuff. It was it made sense to me that they got in over their head because they thought that they were just going to like clean up what was left of the Empire's presence on that planet. And then suddenly they realized, oh crap, there's a lot more going on here than we expected. I liked just classic Stormtrooper fun. Definitely all the, like, as James was talking about, the little callbacks, like all their lines, and even like the way scenes were filmed, you know, like over the pit, or like the controls that he's pulling down are the same controls like Obi-Wan did on the Death Star, you know, stuff like that. And I don't know. If it wasn't, I guess to put it simply, I obviously really want Ahsoka, but if it wasn't going to be Ahsoka this episode, which I had doubts about, then it was a fine, fun episode. And I'm glad the ship got repaired because it was kind of getting on my nerves. It was so janky. And now they have a logical. It made sense that they had a plant there to put a tracker on the ship, and so now it's like, you know what they've totally gotten rid of, and in fact, they've gotten rid of it so well that we haven't had to deal with Anthony complaining about it every 5 minutes. Is the stupid key fob things that can track Baby Yoda? I don't think I've seen those pop up this entire season.
No, they didn't they? Didn't they all like trigger earlier in the season? Or is that maybe I'm thinking season 1? Never mind.
Anyways, yeah, I don't remember them showing up at all this season. And so now I think fans didn't like those very much. As I think Anthony kept saying it, like, what's the point of, why do you need to hire a bounty hunter if you literally can just like hit a button and find a thing?
Because he's a valuable asset. That is a
true
point.
But it took
that's
some
why
of
you
the skill.
that's why you hire repossession people, because people are gonna fight for their property.
It took some of the skill out of the hunt. Anyways, that doesn't matter. What matters is a tracker on the ship makes way more sense than the random key fob thing. So
we can hear you now.
We can hear him. It's just like in a weird delay. Oh, he's muted at the moment. Do you mute him, Mo?
Yes, I did. How do you come on and just yell into the mic?
So I really like that. I liked having all of our old gang back together. I definitely missed what's his name that died in the previous season. The blue guy, I don't know. Having the accountant along for the ride is kind of funny. The way they kept being like, I'm going to take 50 years off your sentence. I'm going to take 100 years off your sentence. I was like, that guy's going to be free by the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Like, you need to bring those numbers down. Like, I'm going to take 10 years off, not 100 years off. Like, chill out. Anyways. Yeah. I'll let Anthony talk.
Yeah. All right. Where do we start? Huh? I thought I could have sworn I heard a baby coo, and I was like, "Oh,
you did.
What happened?
You heard your daughter.
Baby Yoda."
Hi, Aunt.
Hi, welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh,
sorry, I was late. I kept teleporting to different shows.
Okay, great. And what did you like about this episode? Like, is this one of the episodes you're like, you know what, I like this one, or this is, oh look at that.
he's a Berber.
I mean, they definitely had a budget. They definitely had a budget this episode, which I liked, and you can see that Disney spending more money on the Mandalorian this season than they are the first season. So I mean, the chase was cool, the graphics, seeing the stormtroopers and all that. It still felt kind of clunky to me, and I don't know how much directing experience he has, so I don't want to knock it. He could have done a lot of great things, but it seemed a little off to me for that. Yeah, Carl Weathers, like just the transition, some scenes and things like that. And honestly, I'm biased. I didn't like that. It seemed like they were connecting it to the sequel trilogy. Like they're going to try to do what they did in Clone Wars to this and try to like justify some of the like crazy decisions they made in the sequel trilogy, like The Rise of Skywalker, like try to use the Mandalorian to justify some things or explain some things. And I that's going to lessen my enjoyment, honestly.
Okay, so one more thing before we go in. Listen.
Okay,
oh no, go ahead.
I couldn't hear you. I didn't know if it was just me. I couldn't hear you.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this one time again. I'm gonna talk about his armor and being able to take shots. Like, listen, I'm thinking at this point they're letting you know that this thing is indestructible. if at the next season or at some point this season he takes a shot and it hurts him, I will be upset. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna keep talking about it till it happens. I feel it's gonna happen. He's gonna take a shot. He's gonna be like, "Oh my god!"
You don't think there's chinks in his armor somewhere?
No,
like maybe
Patrick,
in like a shoulder where
he
like
literally ran through. He was getting chased by stormtroopers when he's like, "Yeah,
yeah, but
I have to
stormtroopers
get
are bad at shooting, man.
Okay, they're bad at shooting, but he got hit.
If he had like a big old bullseye on the center of his chest, and that's like where his strongest plate of armor was, that's the only place that the stormtroopers would hit.
No, they shot the shoulders. He got shot everywhere, Patrick. I don't know if maybe
there's actually a meme about it out there about how stormtroopers can't hit anything, but when the Mandalorian comes on, all they can hit is his armor.
And I'm like, but you know, it's cool, and I'm just gonna talk about it. That's the only thing I was like, wow, this happened again. I don't know why I was not watching anything else, but then that happened. I was like, wow, of course, this is what I pay attention to. Is there anything anyone didn't like? Well, for Ant, it's the fact that they're trying to connect the sequel trilogies to this, right? Anyone else have a complaint about this episode? The deep cuts? No.
You know, I didn't really like bringing the accountant along the way. I know he's an indentured servant, and he was like, he in theory got a hefty reward for that, but like, I don't know, like the moment you realize you're,
it did feel off, right?
Like he's a liability to you. Why would you keep bringing him in with you?
Did he ever fire his gun?
No. Yeah, he did.
He did.
He hit like two
when they were like running down that one hallway.
There were plenty of scenes where he like goes to shoot and they're all dead.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt bad for him. He was like good comedic relief in the beginning, but like the lot, and then they made him go like over the tiny little bridge in that lava room. Like you want someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I didn't like that scene.
I didn't.
I thought that was it.
I think I agree.
When he went over that bridge, I'm like, well, this is it.
I wasn't sure if he was lame because he was supposed to be lame or lame because I just didn't want him to be there. But and then like them, like I said, knocking off his time all the time. It was just like annoying. I don't know. It was dumb.
Agreed. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Did anyone notice that ship they stole didn't have windows?
Yeah. Well, wait. It had like slots, but it didn't have windows like glass.
It had, it definitely had slits. No screens. No.
I don't know how I feel, and I think they've already established this. I already complained about this, and I got knocked down for it, but I'm going to complain about it again. The way that the jetpacks now basically turn you into Superman is a bit much for me. Like, you literally just, like... What? They used to work, like, more like controlled jumps, like a jump pack rather than a flight pack.
It was kind of like a limited fuel supply in the video games and in the original trilogy.
And everything.
Used very
they were always kind of like more of a jump pack.
Rebels.
Well, Rebels, the latter half of Rebels, they changed it. That was the first instance I remember of them having this long distance kind of dogfight stuff.
Oh yeah. The latter half, yes. But
right when they had they had the Mandalorian stormtroopers. Remember that season? And they were. Is my voice still off? I don't know what's going on.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's a little echoey, but it's fine.
Yeah, echoey.
Okay. But yeah, that was the first time and I don't like it because it kind of negates a lot of the obstacles. One, we've seen them have to deal with, and two, going forward, I'm going to be asking, why aren't you jetpacking? Like, why'd you drag that baby through the desert in the first episode if you could fly like Superman between settlements? Like,
that's a really good point. Ant and I are on a trend. I've agreed with him multiple times in the last few days.
I know we might break the space-time continuum soon.
Andy, you should have heard her yesterday on Star Trek. She sounded like you.
Really?
She was not on the Michael train at all. She was not riding the Michael train.
She's not been on the Michael train for
since season 1.
Yeah, so let's Patrick, let's calm down. Like it's not new, okay? It's new to you, old to me. It's like so I mean, is there anything else anyone wants to talk about the Mandalorian? Because I just feel like it was a short episode. It felt really short to me.
This is so small, and I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm the only woman on the podcast. Cara Dune was wearing makeup this episode, like pretty girl makeup. Like she had a little lip gloss on, she had a little blush, and I was like, she's moving on, like in tiny little steps. Like this new place is her home. Her hair is like pretty. It's not just down, like it's pretty. She's got some lip gloss on. Like she's settling in. Like she's moving towards civilian life, and I was really happy to see that for her.
I really like the interaction with her and the Kim's Convenience Asian guy. Anyways, the rebel guy.
Yeah.
That was like really, it was right. The way it was filmed was just really good. I really like that, and it showed some development.
Really wanted to like reach into the screen and slap him when he was like, "Did you lose anyone? Your planet exploding means you lost someone."
Yeah, that took me totally out of the situation. Someone who usually writes lists and plots when someone has lost somebody, they have to set them up. And it was like, you lost the whole planet. You lost your whole preschool, the guy that just drive you on the bus. Like, you lost everybody.
Is that guy a big name actor? I saw people commenting on who he was.
Wasn't he in the original 3 movies?
Kim's
Who?
The
yeah, he's a comedic actor on Kim's Convenience, which is like a Canadian comedy. It's actually really funny.
Yeah,
Heather loves it. I've watched a few episodes. But he happened to be a huge Star Wars nerd and had already owned all these costumes and stuff like that. And was just known as this like huge Star Wars nerd. And so as this like old Asian man, so it's kind of adorable. So somehow that was known and they got him into the show. And so it's kind of like another fan meme where it's like, oh, the Kim's Convenience guy loves Star Wars. He finally gets to be in Star Wars, right? So
gotcha.
That's fair. What else?
This might just be a real short episode, unless
I'm really trying. I'm really trying. Anything else anyone wants to add? Because I feel like trying to pull stuff I feel like Ant needs to talk. He hasn't really said anything. But
I mean, to me, this was kind of like okay. I didn't think Ahsoka was going to show up in this episode. Like I don't know why people wrote. I mean, I guess if you don't pay attention to who's directing what episode, but for me, it made more sense that Dave Filoni's probably going to be the director of the episode that his character debuts in. I thought at most we might get like a stinger at the end or something, but it really just seemed like a throwaway line again. Again, I'm really scared this season is being used to prop up other IPs from Star Wars. Like, and I think it's going to take some.
But it's kind of all they got, right?
Yeah, but I think
it kind of has to.
And I think someone told me that, well, you don't trust Dave Filoni. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were like, "You don't trust Dave Filoni," and I was like, "I don't like Dave Filoni, but this ain't Dave Filoni's company. This isn't Dave Filoni's IP. Dave Filoni don't own anything here." So if the Disney bosses decide that we're worried about the direction or how many times Star Wars is being looked up on Google, we want you to put these in because obviously Mandalorian is perfect. Can we get a Boba Fett show? Can we get a Bo-Katan show? Can we get what else do people like? Can we throw in here? And that makes me a little nervous. It just makes me a little nervous.
Well, this is a filler cast for the rest of the.
It wouldn't be the first time that's happened. It wouldn't be the first time it's happened to Filoni either. Like all the time, he wanted to like do things, and they'd be like, "No, we're gonna do this other thing. Like you can't touch that." So
yeah, for Rogue One, it happened.
Rogue One being the biggest one.
Yeah.
Like literally the plot line he had planned to end Rebels with, and then they were like, "Actually, we're just gonna make that a whole movie and go do something else."
I did not know that.
And that's why the end of Rebels is like underwhelming because you're like, I thought the whole point of this entire show was the beginning of the rebel movement, and
that's why see, I don't think it was underwhelming. I think it was jarring because you felt like you were going on this ride to this point whether it was the beginning of New Hope or whatever. You thought, and then all of a sudden it just switches, and that makes more sense now. So Dave Filoni came up with Rogue One.
Well, his plan was to bring
team.
it up. His plan was to bring it up to the point of the Death Star plans being stolen. Like that was that team, the Rebels team, is the team that was originally intended to like steal the Death Star plans and all that kind of stuff. Like that was how he would have played that out could have been completely different than Rogue One. But that was the whole point, was like this would be the building of the Rebel Alliance. And he worked really hard. If you look at the early seasons, that's why like people complain about the lightsabers being too skinny in Rebels. It's because if you look at lightsabers in the original Star Wars and New Hope, they're really skinny and like weird looking. And there's lots of other things where he was like literally trying to use the visual style of New Hope so that it would like just line in and connect with this.
Yeah, so I feel like everybody kind of jumps in these things of and Dave Filoni you trust, JJ you trust. These people do not own these properties, and depending on who they are or where they're at, they might have some power in some things and not a lot of power in others. Right, so I feel like last episode, while I liked it, was a setup for something else. I feel like this episode again was trying to justify decisions made that didn't make any sense in Rise of Skywalker. When am I? And I kind of, and again, I was listening to somebody before who was talking about why. I'm gonna mess up his name, but how do you say the guy's name that actually plays Mandalorian? Pascal.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. I'm gonna say apologies, I'm getting it wrong. But if you're an actor coming in here and you're told Mandalorians don't take off their helmets, and this series is about you and your journey and things like that, and then you show up to season 2 and you got Mandalorians taking off their helmets, emoting with their acting tools, and you got Baby Yoda taking over screen, and you have all these other setups in the plot for other things not based on your show, I might throw an actor tantrum too. Like that's just, just out there.
I didn't even like think about that. Like that feels like a personal attack. They're like, oh, you're gonna complain about the fact that we didn't get to see your face. We're gonna show everyone else's. Deal with it.
That's kind of petty.
Right. And think about this. The way the rumor mill or the PR spin machine spun it, like he had a problem with not being showed his face. So we're like, man, like sit your ass down. I mean, I know I was like that. I was like, man, just because
sure.
and but for all we know, and this just goes to the thing of there's 3 sides to every story. It's their side, your side, their side, and the truth somewhere in the middle, right? Yeah. And I can only imagine that I would be pissed if I don't know anything. Like Pascal don't know nothing about Mandalorian lore, or he's not reading Star Wars novels or anything like that. And he's like, oh, okay, I don't show my face. And now Katie Sackhouse, I am messing with her. Yeah, she's a popular character from a sci-fi series. Everybody loves her, and she comes in and she has her face uncovered. What the hell, man?
Sure.
Yeah.
She also did play Mandalorian royalty that took their mask off on their show, helmets off. So I mean, Pedro, sit down for a little bit. I'm sorry. I feel sorry for an actor who signed the contract, which regardless of how it feels, I don't feel sorry for you because that's the contract you signed. I don't. Do your job.
I kind of wondered if the scene with him eating with Baby Yoda wasn't actually like them giving a slight concession. Well, we won't show your face, but you can lift your mask up a little bit.
So you can breathe, just in case it's super hot under there. It's like, oh, you're dying, you're hot in there? Okay, just raise your mask so you can eat. Like, what? No. Honestly, this episode is 100% filler. We have maybe 1 or 2, 3 important things to talk about. I did like Baby Yoda in school. Like, that felt like if Baby Yoda was in school, he would be in trouble you know what? The short I would like to see is an extended episode of Baby Yoda in school, going to school every day and having Mando just upset because the principal or the droid is like, look, get your kid together. Seriously, get him together.
He's a feral child.
You can do some animated shorts. I don't want to see a whole show about that. Sorry.
My question's silly, but do you think those blue cookies are made with blue bantha milk?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, no, yeah, of course.
Macaroons.
I was seeing a lot of the comments and things like that talking about if they kill Baby Yoda, what's gonna happen with Baby Yoda. Fans revolt if they kill Baby Yoda, they'll just hate the show. I kind of feel like we're in a weird mix of people who like this show because of Baby Yoda, who aren't Star Wars fans, dictating types of. Okay, yeah, but I feel like though, Stephanie, you can have a story like if like I know you don't know who these characters are, it's hard to say it now, but like when Ahsoka Tano came in Clone Wars, we were like, oh, how's she gonna die? Because all the Jedi die. Like we just assumed all of them are gonna die. If you keep the sequel trilogy canon and Baby Yoda becomes a Jedi, which I know he might not, he might be the Mandalorian, I get that. But if he becomes a Jedi, then he dies. In the story, Luke only trains Baby Yoda, and then 30 years later makes another class, and Kylo Ren kills them all. So, I mean, this is Star Wars, and I think people have to get back into the, messed up shit's gonna happen. Like it's, Baby Yoda might have a tragic death where we all cry.
What is the timeline of this? When does Mando take place?
Right after.
It's like 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
5 years. I don't want the actors say 10, but somebody in the chat looked it up and said they saw that it was 5. So right after Return of the Jedi.
It's something year 10. So there's some sort of like AD BC marker, and it's I guess 10. What is that marker for?
So it's after Yavin. So after Yavin and before Yavin. So Star Wars Expanded Universe pretty much marked the timeline. Their ADBC is before the destruction of the first Death Star and after the destruction of the first Death Star.
So it's 10 years after the destruction of the first Death Star.
Right.
So 5 years after the destruction of the second.
And I always assumed that Jedi took place 6 years after, but I mean, I guess we're on the same timeline then. Yeah.
Wow.
So the Empire is still like around and doing stuff. There's a single chapter in one of the new books where it's kind of during that era. There's also Aftermath, which is just the worst book. Don't ever read it. Don't ever read that book. So
did you say that last week?
Well, none of them are canon now, right? None of them are canon.
No, these are the new books. These are the new books.
But the new books aren't canon anymore because like Cad Vance or whatever Justified from last year, his story is completely different. So that makes his book he showed up in then like non-canon. I mean,
if Aftermath's not canon, that's great. So I'm on board.
I think my main fear is just having this was a side story. I thought like the Mandalorian was a side story. It wasn't supposed to be the main. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be saying this right.
I think what you're saying, Anthony, is that the intention of this TV show was that it wasn't going to be Star Wars. It wasn't going to carry the entire weight of Star Wars, right?
Right.
And now, because all of the other properties have had different issues and struggles, particularly the final movie had real issues. It seems like it's the only thing that like Force Awakens and Last Jedi fans, the people who were divided between those two movies, can agree on is they both hate the third movie. Right. So because of that kind of collapse, if you will, now Mandalorian is like holding the full weight of Star Wars. But there's more TV shows coming out, so maybe as those TV shows come out, it'll take some of that pressure off. But I agree, it's kind of rough because right now all of Star Wars is kind of riding on this single TV show that was intended as being literally Lone Wolf and Cub, a dude running around doing rando missions running from the Empire.
Right, and you said it a lot better than I could. And I think that I could be hyper vigilant right now, right? I could be like really sensitive to the fact of seeing all these different properties. Are these just jumping off points? We only get so many Mandalorian episodes, and I mean, even with did y'all watch the holiday special?
No.
The new one? The new one?
Mason's like, no, yeah. I broke down and I watched it.
I didn't even know it was available for viewing.
Yeah.
No, there's a new one that they just made.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
We're not.
It's gonna sit on Disney Plus.
Well,
I don't know why you did that to yourself, but go ahead.
And now you're going to subject us to your criticism.
Right.
all I'm gonna say is that there was big talks about there being change of leadership, but based on that holiday special, they moved the story even further forward, where Finn's a Jedi, or
But
and
that holiday special like takes place in like Lego Star Wars, dude. Like, chill out.
but it's
There's
informed.
other Lego Star Wars things they did. They're definitely not part of the plot. Like, just
Right.
I think you're.
Well, see,
Patrick,
I
don't take this
think
the
you're
wrong way. We kind of don't want to see your face anymore, so you can tilt your camera down.
Oh,
I don't know. She's like a camera. She's got her like 30 seconds of fame, and now she's going crazy. She keeps reaching up to get back on camera.
Yes.
I think you think I have a criticism that I'm not actually saying. What I am saying is that in a couple of weeks they have doubled down on the fact of, do not forget about the Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker is here. This is what we're dealing with, and going forward, this is what we're going for because of what happened in the holiday special. Going forward with Finn's training, and they even brought Baby Yoda into that, and all. And now we have this episode where it has, apparently it looks like, to me it looked like Snoke in those containers. I hope I'm wrong, but and the fact that apparently you can transfer the Force with blood transfusions now. Like, I don't know. That's just where I'm at.
Anyways, thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Pat.
Anyway. Hey, stop! I love that Serenity shirt, by the way.
Hey, thanks.
That's awesome. So, anyways.
No, seriously. Thank you, Anthony, for all the insight. Thank you, Patrick, for your insight. Thank you, James and Stephanie, for making the time. This was a very, very interesting Mandalorian review episode. We will see you next week for episode.
That's great.
We have 2 more episodes. We have 2 more of these, right? So we'll see you next week for episode 7. Maybe we get a.
Is the Razor Crest supposed to look like Serenity?
What?
Wait, is the Razor Crest supposed to look like Serenity?
Oh, you're right. It does look like Serenity.
Yeah, they really went for a feel there.
Unintended.
All right. Anyway, Mo. I'm gonna go look out my window real quick.
Wow, I said one thing about Windows one time.
Just one casual comment.
One little comment about Windows. Never gonna hear the end of it. I can't wait.
You're not gonna hear the end of it.
No,
I can't wait until some truck comes out and they tell us.
You better hold my copy for you, because that's a eulogy. That's a eulogy right there. I'm gonna paint the window of your casket.
You can see out of that now. Thank you very much for coming, for making the time. Thank you all for everyone that's listening and watching. We will catch you next week for episode 7 of The Mandalorian.